Yo, thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. It's another day. It's 2:36 p.m. Pacific time. It's April 7th, 2026. Hope you're having a good day. Let's begin. Who are Iran's allies? These nations are tied to Middle Eastern country. As the world waits to see whether the US military will launch major strikes on Iran's critical infrastructure, concerns of retaliation from the Middle East country continued to circulate on April 7th. President Donald Trump earlier this week warned that American attacks would leave the country unable to recover if its leaders don't meet a deadline to open the Strait of Hormuz, a vital oil route. Whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will, Trump wrote in an April 7 post on Truth Social. The president left the door open to a possible 11th hour deal with Iran to avoid an escalation, saying U.S. leaders have been privately negotiating with a group of Iranian officials who are smarter and less radicalized than their predecessors. After Trump's declaration, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian announced more than 14 million proud Iranians had so far registered to sacrifice their lives to defend Iran. I too have been, am, and will remain devoted to giving my life for Iran, Pezeshkian wrote in a post on X. So far, the conflict has involved Israel and the United States on one side and Iran on the other. But as the war continues, here is a look at Iran's allies and other countries tied to the Middle Eastern nation. Who are Iran's allies? Russia. Moscow has previously warned that any direct U.S. action on Iranian soil would amount to a dangerous escalation. In June 2025, President Vladimir Putin met with Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi in Moscow and said there was no justification for the U.S. attack last year and called aggression against Iran groundless. Last month, Trump said Russia was providing intel to Iran on the location of U.S. forces. The Washington Post and NBC News Reuters reported earlier this month that the country was ready to contribute to resolving the Iran conflict, and Putin was continuing to talk with regional leaders. China, the country said it strongly condemned U.S. attacks on Iran, alleging America violated the UN Charter and international law. It called for a ceasefire, but so far has not offered Iran any major assistance. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has previously called on China to prevent Iran from blocking the Strait of Hormuz in retaliation for U.S. airstrikes. China is the biggest buyer of Iranian oil, and two countries are friendly. North Korea, the country has previously condemned U.S. strikes against Iran, calling them a mass violation of a sovereign state security interests and territorial rights, its state media reported. But Reuters on April 7 reported South Korean lawmakers citing Seoul's National Intelligence Service said North Korea appeared to be distancing itself from Iran, carefully managing its public messaging to preserve the possibility of a new relationship with the U.S. after the Iran war. Countries tied to Iran. Lebanon. Iran has ties with Lebanon and militant group Hezbollah, a political party the United States designated a terrorist organization. The group formed in the 1980s during Lebanon's civil war to fight against two Israeli invasions of Lebanese territory, according to the Council on Foreign Relations. An ally of Hamas, it has vowed to support the group in its fight with Israel. Syria, Iran, and Syria had close ties during the Iran-Iraq war, but those have diminished since the outside of the President Bashar al-Assad. Rebel forces ousted the dictator's regime and he fled with his family to Russia in 2024. Yemen. Iran has been attacking American ships in the Red Sea through their proxies in Yemen, the Houthis. America has responded with airstrikes against them. In early May 2025, Trump said America would end airstrikes on Houthi militants in Yemen effectively immediately. Iran, which shares nearly a 1,000-mile border with Iraq, has ties to Iraqi militant groups including Kataib Hezbollah, the Badr organization, and Hezbollah al-Qahhaq. In January 2020, Iran launched 13 ballistic missiles at American troops in Iraq. Again, thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, comment down below, let me know what you think. Follow me on Instagram, the Studio 11. Follow me on X, the Studio 2020. I would say Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. Thank you for joining, and I'll see you on the next one.